Welcome everyone to our first Tech Tuesday. Thank you for joining Astra and Royal for this webinar on Excel 2016. We plan to offer webinars on technology once per month on Tuesdays to provide you with a refresh of information along with new tips and tricks to expand your knowledge and broaden your tech expertise. As a reminder before we get started, the first half hour of this webinar will be focused on the basics of Excel to help those that want a refresher as well as attendees that are new to Excel. You're welcome to stay on board for the second segment or sign out when the first half hour has ended. If you have any questions, please send them at any time via the chat box, and I will ask them during the Q&A portion of the presentation. So at this time, I'm going to pass it over to David Finberg of Royal. Thanks, David.
Hey, you're welcome, Erin. Thanks for the warm introduction. So, as Erin stated, my name is David. I'm with Royal, and today I'm going to show you how to simplify your digital lives and get the most out of your Excel software. So today we're going to cover some basics and some advanced features of Excel. Some of the basic tips and tricks that we're going to cover include creating and saving workbooks, navigating Excel, entering cell data, basic Excel commands, the sort and filter commands, and how to utilize Excel help when you're in a bind. We're also going to have a few other resources for individuals looking to get a little bit more out of this webinar. We do have a free ebook and some links for some tertiary Excel training that we will put up at the end of the webinar for you guys. In terms of the advanced features, or the advanced tips and tricks that we're going to cover, we're going to talk about stylizing cells and adding a little bit of flavor, so to speak, to your Excel webinar, playing around with the visuals, maybe cover a little bit of formulas and some more basics for you all. So if everyone's ready, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. All right, so if everyone can see my screen, you'll probably see the home screen pop up here. And the first step in creating an Excel document is to actually go ahead and start the document. So in order to start a new document, you just need to pull up Excel. As you can see, the Excel is right here. This is what this looks like. And you just go ahead and hit the New button. That's going to open up a new workbook for you. So we could do a blank workbook, or we could choose from one of these templates. But for all intents and purposes, we're just going to choose a blank workbook and start from scratch. So we're just going to select the blank workbook. And from here, we can go ahead and enter our data. But before we do, we just want to take a really brief overview of how Excel works. For those of you that have never used Excel or might have a few questions, you're going to have columns, rows, and cells. So a cell is going to be, just like I've selected here, 2A, that's one cell. It's where a row and a column intersect to create one cell. Now a row is going to be horizontal all the way across the screen, and a column is going to be vertical all the way down the screen. And the cell will be where those two come together. So in this case, A2 is the cell that we're working on. We're working in row 2, column A. So just to kind of get started here, let me go ahead and type in some data. And let's say that we just really needed a really quick, simple document, and we just want to save this. All we need to do is we can go up to the top, the upper left-hand corner, and hit the Save button. We could also hit Control-S, and that will automatically save. Or we could hit the File button and save it this way. I'm going to go ahead and save this to my desktop. And as you can see, I've got my desktop here. I'm going to name this Test Book. So it's all saved. I can go back, I can close this document, or I could open it back up if I wanted to. All I would need to do to re-edit that document would be to hit Open, browse to the desktop where we saved the file, and select the test book workbook, which as you can see, it's all saved and it's all ready to go. So pretty easy, pretty simple. Just creating, saving, and editing a workbook, that's that in a nutshell. So let's say you know how to save a workbook. You know more or less how to open, save, and edit files, but maybe you haven't had too much experience with Excel. We're going to quickly go through each and every section at the top here so that you guys know what's going to be important to you at the right time. So the first tab is going to be the File tab. This is going to be where you can open, save, print. It also includes your options. If you need to go in and change some things, we will get into that a little bit later in the advanced section. But that will be kind of your starting point, is always going to be the File, just like Microsoft Word or any other Microsoft product. The Home tab, as selected here, is going to allow you to stylize, apply colors, change fonts, change the layout, and much more. So let's say, for example, we wanted to highlight a couple of these rows. All we need to do is drag and drop, select the rows that we want to highlight. And we can go to this little paint bucket here, and maybe we want to show them in a green background to make it a little easier to read or to convey some sort of pattern or data. All we need to do is select the paint bucket, and as you can see, it is now green. We can do the same thing with the text color. If we want to maybe make the number white, all we need to do is go to the little A, hit the arrow next to it, and select the color that we want to use. Now, some other really cool features are going to be similar to those found in Word, where you can actually move, you can move the centering or alignment of the data to better suit you. So we'll say that, let's say we're putting in some sort of pricing skewer catalog, and we know that this particular product costs about $45. Well, looking at this, we can tell that this could be some sort of currency, but without really knowing, we would maybe have to type a dollar sign in, or if we're using pounds or something outside of what's on our keyboard, it could be a little tricky. So the next trick I'm going to show you is how to convert a number into a currency or a percentage or any other number of options. And as you can see here, we've got euros, we've got yen. We could simply select the dollar sign, since right now we're in the US. And now, no matter what, this column is going to be formatted for a currency, which is really cool. Now, let's say we accidentally made this a currency and we really wanted to do a percent. We could just go up here, hit the percent button, and that's going to change that into a percentage. As you can see, there's a drop-down. You've got all kinds of different options, date, times, formulas, and all kinds of different things that you could use to really customize the layout and the data that you're inputting into Excel. So next we'll go to the Insert tab. If you just bear with me 1 second here. So the Insert tab is going to allow you to insert tables, pictures, all kinds of things. You can actually make a chart. For now, if we wanted to, let's say, insert a picture of something related to this Excel document, all we need to do is hover over to the Pictures tab, double-click, and then we could select a picture that we wanted to input. In this case, I really don't have a picture that we're going to put in there, but if you wanted to, that option is right there for you. We're also going to have the ability to create some charts, create some maps. We could do a win-loss chart. We could insert hyperlinks. We could even insert some clip art from Word if we wanted to. Really, really powerful stuff here. This is more for a presentation. So your Insert tab is typically going to be to insert a picture, a chart, or something along those lines into your Excel document. Now let's say we actually wanted to maybe make some quick notes or highlight something very quickly in a meeting. We can actually draw on this Excel document. So all we need to do is hit the Draw with Touch. Then you can use your mouse to select and draw within the Excel document to maybe highlight a certain piece of information or data. And as you can see, my handwriting is a little rough here, so we're just going to go ahead and erase this. And as you can see, the eraser button's right here. All we would need to do is erase it. To erase this would be to select the line that we just drew. And we could use a variety of different colors and and swatches to really make this a little bit more personal and creative for you. We'll go ahead and delete this for now. So that's drawing in a nutshell. It's simply that you're just drawing on the page or your Excel document. Now the next tab is going to be your page layout. This is going to be important for many of you. This is where you can play with the margins, play with the orientation of the page. We could choose a landscape if we wanted to. We could leave it as a portrait. You could also do a custom margin if you're printing this out on a specific size of paper or really need to work with some specific guidelines. This is where you're going to do that. This is your margin section. So right now it's set to, looks like 3/4 of an inch on the top and the bottom. We could put it all the way up to an inch or even put in a custom margin of our own choosing just by simply highlighting the up and down arrows to change the top and bottom margins. So pretty cool stuff. Now the next section is the formulas section. We'll get into this a little bit more in depth in the advanced portion of the webinar, but we will get into some quick and easy formulas that can really help you get the most out of your day, save a little bit of time. Overall, we just want to make your life a little bit easier. Microsoft has helped with that, with the formulas function in Excel. So this is where you're going to be able to insert your own formulas, or you could choose from some predetermined formulas. So if we wanted to, let's say, make a formula out of these three numbers, we would go to the Insert Function feature, and that's going to be basically a formula template for you, if you will. We could also import our own formula directly into this text box, but maybe this is the first time using formulas. Let's go ahead and select the Insert Function button. Now maybe we want a sum of cells A1, A2, and A3. We could do that right here. We're going to go ahead and select the sum feature, hit OK, and as you can see, it's going to say that, hey, look, we want to calculate the sum between cells A2 and A4. Now, alternatively, we could easily type in these numbers, so I could type in 1, 2, and 3 if I wanted to, and that will get the job done just as well, but it is nice when Excel kind of pre-populates the data that you want. We'll go ahead and hit OK, and as you can see, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is going to equal 6. And that is a really quick, basic example of a formula for you. So we could try this again with something else. Let's say we'll use 2, 4, and 5, and we want the sum of these numbers to appear in cell B5. We'll go ahead and move down to B. We're in the B column. We're in row 5, and we're going to go ahead and insert a function. So let's say we wanted the sum of this. We could highlight this if we wanted to, or we could simply rest your cursor in the B5 section, go to Insert Function, and we're going to select Sum again. But we could use median, average, etc. if you wanted to. And it's automatically going to identify that we've got data in rows in cells B2, B3, and B4. So we want to go ahead and get the sum of all of the values from cell B2 to B4, which is what this is saying right here. We go ahead and hit OK. It should populate 11. There you go. In B5, that's going to go ahead and be the sum. So 2 plus 4 plus 5 obviously is 11. Excel just saved us a little bit of time. As you can see, if we were working with a lot of data, this would be a really beneficial tool to use to prevent yourself from having to constantly keep entering in the same formulas or doing the same calculations manually. 2016 version of Excel will help you do that without all the legwork, which is really cool. So now that we've covered some formulas, we're going to go ahead into the Data tab. And we will come back to formulas. There are specific formulas for every industry within here, which is really cool. So if you're an accountant or maybe you're managing the inventory for your store, it's going to have some pre-populated formulas that will make your life much, much easier. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and go to the Data tab. You just need to click the data here. And we can do some really cool things here. So not only can you integrate this with a database or pull data from a database, those are a little bit outside of what we're going to cover today, but you can actually arrange that data, and that's what the Data tab is going to allow you to do. So it's going to allow you to arrange your data in a meaningful way without having to copy, paste, and take any risks with the information that's already been inputted into the document. So let's say we wanted to sort this data. We know that 11 is the sum. We've got these values here, but maybe we want to sort this a little bit differently to make more sense to us or more sense to the customer. We're going to go ahead and hit the sort button. And the sort button's right here for those of you still catching up here. You're going to hit sort, and you're going to continue with the current selection. So I've selected cells B1, B3, B4, and B5. And we want to just continue with the selection that I have here. I don't want to sort the full document. I just want to sort my selection. So we're going to click continue with the current selection, hit sort, and then from here we can sort this however we'd like. Right now it's arranged from smallest to largest. All you need to do is hit the drop down, and we could change this to sort from largest to smallest, which is what we're going to do right now. As you can see, we're in column B, and we're sorting the values or the numbers within that given column. We'll go ahead and hit OK, and it should rearrange our data so that 11 is on top. And let's see here. Going to work. Let me try that once more. Do largest to smallest. And as you can see, all the data is now rearranged. It did run into a little error here. That can happen when you're using formulas and you're sorting. Not something that I would really worry about. Just more of an example for you guys to see the idea of how to use sort and what it's going to do for you. Now the filter feature is something that is really cool. I'm going to go ahead and open up a different document for you so that you can see in real time how the sort feature is going to work. I'm not going to save this because this is just the test document, so I just hit that. This is a Excel document that I prepared for this particular webinar. It's just sample data. But we're going to go ahead and go back to the data screen. I'm going to show you how you could filter some of these results. Let's say, this could be a data overload for someone. And, it looks like we're selling some kind of cameras here, and we really want to be able to interpret this data in a meaningful way. And there's a lot of data here. Maybe, this list is much longer than what we see here. So sort is going to help you sort the data. Filter is going to actually filter the data. Think of it as a pair of almost like goggles or glasses that you're going to take on and take off. So we're going to go ahead and hit the filter button. And as you can see here, now we have these little drop-down tabs. So let's say I know that the Saurus Lumina digital camera is not something that I want to be looking at. I just want to look at these other products. What we would do is hit the down button, and we could select some products that we don't want to see. So maybe, we only want to see the Yugo Saurus products. So I could unselect various other products, hit OK, and you're going to see we're only going to see the products that we selected here. That's really helpful if you've got very large product lists or SKUs that you're going through, and you know that certain products are already completed or optimized, and you need to go back and look at some of the other ones. The filter feature is going to help you do that so that you don't have to look at all your data. You don't have to copy and paste. You don't have to worry about losing any information, because a filter is just kind of an overlay for your Excel document, like a pair of glasses. Right now we have the glasses on. We're looking at the data that we want. When it's time to take the glasses off and get back to the full document, all you need to do is tap the filter button, and you're going to go ahead and see the original document again. So really, really helpful, especially if you're managing a lot of information and you really need to condense it down or focus it down to what's important to you right now without editing the document or copying, pasting, adding, deleting, where you would risk losing some data. So filter is going to help you do that. All you have to do is hit that filter button right there. Now, if we were to move on to the next section, which is going to be the review section, this is also going to be really helpful. This is where we can check spelling. There's there's a thesaurus. We could use a smart lookup feature to find specific values. We could even add a comment into the document. So let's say Sophie here will be reading this document, and we want to add a comment for her because it looks like she checked out this laptop. So all we need to do is go up to the cell that we want, which is Sophie. We'll select Sophie's cell. We'll hit New Comment. And then I'll say, hey, Sophie, thanks so much. Please return when you can. And that comment is going to save right there for Sophie so that when Sophie hovers over this, she can see, okay, looks like I do need to return this, but there's no rush on it. If I wanted to go ahead and delete this comment, all I would need to do is select the cell that the comment is located in and hit delete, and that's going to go ahead and delete that comment. So pretty cool stuff. Again, if we wanted to check spelling, all we need to do is hit the spell check here on the upper left-hand corner, and that is going to run through the document. In this case, it looks like Sophia or Sophie is spelled a little bit differently. There's nothing really to correct here, but a really good practice to get into the habit of is just checking your spelling, using the thesaurus if you need to, making and editing, deleting comments is going to really be helpful, especially if you're working with a team of people. So that's those were the first 6 or so sections. The last section is going to be the view section. And the view section is going to help you with the layout. So maybe you want to only look at the cells that have information in them. All you would need to do is hit the page break preview, and that's going to condense this document down into only the meaningful cells. Alternatively, if we want to add some more information, or maybe it's a little bit easier for us to read, we could select the normal, and now you have the ability to add even more information and scroll up and down. So again, if we just want to see the data at hand, we can do the page break preview, and that's going to eliminate the extra columns, or we could hit the normal. And of course, you've got your zoom. You can zoom to selection. The next feature, which is the new window feature, is going to be really helpful for you. So let's say we wanted to copy and paste some data from this document, but we didn't want to risk damaging the document or maybe losing some information accidentally. I know that in the frenzy of copying and pasting, sometimes you can lose information, or you can hit the wrong button and it's gone in an instant. I'm going to show you a way that you can open a new version of this document without necessarily having to edit the document. So let's say we wanted to copy and paste some of this document here. Maybe we wanted to go in and add some products, or it looks like maybe Nick has checked out multiple products. We'll go ahead and hit the new window button. And the new window is going to bring up a carbon copy of your Excel document that you can play with. So you could say, hey, Nick, I'm going to copy and paste this. Maybe I'm going to move this over to the bottom. Or maybe this wants to be put into the other Excel document that I have. I can go back here, copy and paste this, which I will show you in the next steps. Basically moving information around without editing this original document, which is really important, especially when you're handling sensitive or a large amount of information. So all I need to do is hit the X, and we're back to the original document. So if I were to put this back here, just for the purpose of the webinar, it's all back. So those are the main tabs that you're going to be using. A lot of people are going to be everyone's going to use the file. Many of you are going to be using the home, insert, page layout, formulas. You'll have to draw the review pages to add and edit comments, make some quick scribbles on the Excel if you're in a quick meeting, something like that. So we've kind of went over the quick and easy layout of Excel, but let's say we want to enter some data into Excel. So I'm just going to scroll down here, and let's say I want to add some data in. I'm going to show you a really cool trick to add data into a cell. So first and foremost, we've got to put data in before we can transform it into something else. So let's say that we wanted to add the number 1 into the cell. All we need to do is hit the 1, and you're going to press Enter. And that's going to save the information in that cell. We could do the same for here. We could do 2, 3, 4, and you're just pressing Enter after each entry. From here, we could also insert our own formula. So let's say we've got the information here. Pretty straightforward. We've added the numbers in. And let's say we want cell B40 to be a sum of some of these numbers. So let's say we want to add a couple of these cells together. We're going to hit the equal sign. And I want to add cell B38 and B39 together. And I want that to populate in cell B40. So I'm just going to type B38 plus B39. You can see it has highlighted these two sections. And all you need to do is hit Enter. And we can see that the total is going to be 7. So I'll do that one more time for you. If we wanted to make a specific formula, go in a specific cell, we could hit the equals button, determine which cells we want. Maybe we want to subtract or multiply even. Maybe we want to multiply cell B37 by B38. We're just going to type the equal sign at the very top here and type B37 times B38. And as you can see, those two cells are highlighted so that I know these are the cells that I want. Hit Enter, and there you go, the total obviously being 6. So pretty cool stuff. Not something that you're probably going to be using on really complex formulas. You'll probably want to use the formulas feature, which I'll get back to here in a moment. But really cool, really easy way to just enter your data in. And we can even do text. So here is some text. All we need to do to save this, as you can see it's up here as well, is hit the Enter button, and that's going to lock that into the cell. Now, we would want to save the document, assuming that this is going to be something that you're going to be using. It's not going to save, so to speak, the document just by pressing Enter, but it will save the values within the document, within that cell, just from hitting Enter. So let's say we wanted to copy and paste some things within these cells. Like we know, okay, this data is really important. We're going to move it to a different area of the Excel document. We're just going to go ahead and select, hold the left mouse button down and scroll until you've got all the cells that you want. And you can go up to the upper left-hand corner and hit Copy. Let's say we wanted to put this in the C or the D row. We can just go right up here to the Paste button, also known as Control-V. You can hit Control-V as well, and that is going to paste it right there. So really cool stuff. That's copying and pasting, entering data in a nutshell. The next section that we're going to get into are some basic Excel commands. So let's say we really have a large document with maybe hundreds or even thousands of values. Maybe they're products. Maybe we've got about 500 or 600 different products, and we want to change the name or the SKU of the product. Maybe a newer version has come out, or maybe the SKU has been updated, and we really don't want to manually go through our entire Excel list and manually change these SKUs over or change these particular product names over manually. I'm going to show you how you can do that really quickly and easily using the Find and Replace feature. So to access the Find and Replace feature, you're going to hit the Control button and you're going to hit F. And as you can see, this has brought up the Find and Replace window. So if we wanted to, let's say we want to replace the X10, as you can see here, with an X11. We're just going to go ahead to the Replace. We're going to find the X-10, and we're going to replace it with the X-11. So that I should not have to manually go in and type in delete X10, retype X11. This should do it all for us. So we could replace just one. We could replace all. We could simply find without replacing and just find the instances so that we know how many roughly there are. In this case, I know that the inventory is changing or the product name is changing, and we want to quickly and easily replace these product names. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the Replace All. And it's all done. It looks like they made 4 replacements. Let's check it out. It looks like, yep, the X11 is now in the Excel document. It was that easy. Now, if we wanted to change this back to X10, all we would need to do is find what? We're finding the X11, and we're replacing this with an X10. So we could just simply retype that, replace all, and it should make those changes. And as you can see, those changes have been made right there. So pretty cool stuff. Now, let's say we want to insert a new line or a new product, and we don't want to copy and paste and move all this information around and again, risk, fudging something up. So we're going to go ahead and simply click on the row or the cell that we want to insert a new line for. So let's say I want to insert a new line at row 13. All I need to do is select that row, right-click, hit the Insert button, and I can select from a couple of different options. I want the entire row to be blank. I want to be able to type in the ID, the type, and everything, so I'm going to insert an entire row. You could also do this with a column or just individual cells, but in most cases you're going to either do an entire row or an entire column. And all you need to do is hit OK. And as you can see, row 13 is now free for me to type in my new product. So it's simple as that. From here, again, if we wanted to sort and filter, we could do so. Let's say we want to sort out the new product or sort out specific products. All we would need to do is go back to Data, hit Filter, and then select from one of these drop-downs. Maybe we're going to filter by ID or type or equipment detail or maybe even the day checked out. So let's say I don't want anything that's happened in the last 3 or 4 months. All you have to do is hit OK, and boom, it filtered it for us automatically. Again, when we're ready to take off that filter, take those glasses back off, and look at the full document, again, all we need to do is hit the Filter button, and all of our data returns. So really cool stuff. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to, in the basic section at least, is how to utilize Excel help. So let's say you've got kind of a wonky issue. Maybe you don't have time to shoot me an email or give us a call. All you need to do is go to the File screen or the File tab at the upper left-hand section of the screen and go over to this little question mark right here, and that's going to be Microsoft Excel Help. You can also reach this by hitting F1. So if I were to go back and just simply hit F1, that is going to bring up the Excel help right here. It does open in a new window. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see this on this particular webinar, but F1 is going to bring up that help for you. So those were the basic tips and tricks in a nutshell. Before we get into the advanced, does anyone have any questions related to any of the information that I just presented?
Thanks, David. We do have a couple of questions, actually. One you might answer in the advanced portion, so we can skip it if that's the case. But the first question is, do you recommend any templates, or does Excel have any templates for budgeting that you think would be good for new people that aren't as comfortable creating formulas and such in an Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So I will cover a few of these tips and tricks that will help those budgeting out there, specifically with formulas. The formulas are really going to be your biggest resource, but there are some templates that you can download, inventory sheets, all kinds of different pre-populated templates that can help you, line up your budget for the month or for the year. And those can be accessed online and also through Excel's template portal. For those of you looking for some specifics, I will follow up with Erin and give her some links so that she can distribute those to you, and you guys will have a little bit better understanding as to how these templates work and where you can find them to kind of make the process a little bit easier for you.
Great. That's excellent. Thank you. The second question is, how do you add in a new row or column without messing up your formula settings? And maybe that's for this round 2 section, but...
That's a great question. That is something that I actually would have to get back to you on. The formulas can be very tricky. You need to be pretty cognizant when you are... Oh, it looks like my Excel is not working here. Here we go. You do have to be cognizant of the relationships between cells and formulas. But that being said, there is a way to do this where you essentially set up different sections of your Excel document for these formulas. Not something that is going to be easily demonstrated over this webinar, but certainly something that I could, again, send some additional information on for some of those really advanced users that are looking to really get the full picture here in terms of formulas.
Okay, sounds good. So that's it for questions that we have right now. And for anyone that would like to exit from the Excel webinar, you are welcome to do that right now. Welcome to those that have just joined us. We are now going into our second half of Tech Tuesday on Microsoft Excel. So this segment is going to cover more advanced Excel topics with David Finberg of Royal, and I'm going to pass it back over to him.
Thanks so much, Erin. So again, we're gonna cover some of the advanced features here. The goal of which is to simplify your digital life, make your lives easier, save you time, ultimately, hopefully save you some money if you're a business owner as well. So we covered some basic formulas in the basic section, but now we're going to get into a little bit more advanced formulas and features. In order to do that, I'm just going to scroll down here, and we're going to take a look at the formulas function. So all we need to do is, as you can see, you've got the Formulas tab right here. And if you select these various drop-downs, you'll see that there are different formulas for everyone to use. So you've got your financial formulas, you've got date and time formulas, math and trigonometry. I mean, the list is pretty serious. Statistical formulas, engineering formulas, pretty much anything that you could possibly need to calculate will be in here, and you won't have to manually enter these in, which could become pretty tedious. So let's say we wanted to test out a more advanced formula, and we're going to go ahead and do this in cell B42. All we need to do is hit the insert function, and we can select a category of formulas that's going to best suit us. So maybe we want to do a financial formula, or maybe see all the formulas. We might want to check what the mode or median is of these numbers. All you need to do is scroll down, and we can see here that the median is right here. Select the OK button, and that's going to take the median of numbers between cells B37 and B41. So we could also manually add this in ourselves, like if we wanted to do a custom range of numbers. All you need to do is hit the tab button and you can add in a new cell. So we could do that. We'd hit OK, and that's going to give us the median right here with these specific numbers that we use. Now, if we wanted to only use the numbers within cells B37 to B41, we just hit the delete button, go back up to the insert function. We can select the all features to see all of the various functions that we have available to us, and scroll down to median again to calculate the median of those cells B37 to B41. Find median here. Here it is. Select OK. And as you can see, it's going to say B37 colon B41, all the values between these 5 or so columns. We're going to go ahead and hit OK, and this should calculate the median of all these numbers, which should be 3. Simple as that. Now, obviously, there are some much more complex functions that we could get into. Just kind of go through some of these for you. You've got, sine, cosine, all kinds of high-level, math and financial formulas at your disposal, so that you don't necessarily have to whip out that clunky calculator and do these manually. The goal of which is to save you time and ultimately, if you enter all your data in correctly, hit the function or the formula button, it's going to calculate all of those values. You're not going to have to individually do that on a row or even, cell or column basis. Really cool stuff. Now let's say we've got our data in, we've got the formulas down. We want to interpret this data in a little bit more meaningful way. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use some styles on this data. The way that we can do that is we could just select the home feature, and maybe we want to do some kind of conditional formatting. If the number is a 6, we would like to have that number highlighted in some way. So all we need to do is click the conditional formatting button, which is going to be right here. You can go to the highlight cell rule. So we want our cell to be highlighted in the event that a rule is written and a condition exists. And in this case, we're just going to select equal to, but we could do between, less than, greater than, text that contains, duplicate values. I mean, the list goes on and on. Let's just go ahead and select the equal to for this particular webinar. Let's see. Format cells that are equal to 6. And then if we wanted to do multiple, we could do that as well, but we'll just select 6. We'll fill that with a red or a dark red text. Maybe we want to make it green with a dark green text. We can select that here. As you can see, it's already started to highlight this. We'll hit OK, and voila, it looks like everything in the document with the 6 is now has this really sleek, cool green style. Let's say we want to manually style some of these things. We don't want to do conditional formatting. We know what we want. We don't want to get too fancy. All you need to do is hover over the style that you want in the upper right-hand corner here to stylize that. If you click this drop-down arrow right here, you're going to see all of the styles that you have available at your disposal, and we could even make a custom style. So let's say we want to modify the style. All we need to do is right-click on the style that you want to modify, select the Modify feature, and from here we can go ahead and modify this particular style to use on multiple cells or rows. So that is styling in a nutshell. Add a little bit of creativity to the look and the feel of your document, or maybe you want to just customize the look to better suit you. The data can be arranged and styled so that you're able to make some quick, educated decisions without necessarily going through all the numbers. If you know that you've created a specific style for a specific condition or even specific products, specific dates, then you know that you can kind of trust what you're looking at without having to reference all the data each time. So use styles and colors to provide deeper insights into your data, and it allows you to work smarter and easier. So pretty cool stuff here. So we covered some more advanced formulas. We covered some styles. Let's cover one last thing. Not a super advanced feature here, but something that a lot of people don't know about. If you go to the File and you select the Options, you're going to see this is your option. So this is me. I go by Finney. If you guys want to email me, feel free to reference me as Finney with any questions. But we'll go ahead and let's say we want to change the background and the theme of Office. So maybe we don't want this as colorful. Maybe we just want it black. We're going to go ahead and hit OK, and that's going to change our whole Excel layout or theme to a black theme. Now, maybe black is a little tough for us to read, or we're working in a darker environment for the time being. Maybe we want to change this back to the colorful. All we need to do is go to the Office theme, hit the drop-down, select colorful, and hit OK. There is one more feature that is kind of cool, great for customizing the look of your personal Excel client. And this won't show up on other people's computers, but it will show up on yours. As you can see, there's a little graphic here. Maybe we want to change this to white, and we want to use a different graphic in the upper right-hand corner. We could do doodle diamonds I really like. And just pay attention right up here. It's going to go ahead and change the Office background for me. I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK. As you can see, the doodle diamonds are up there. The Excel has changed into the more colorful format. And for me, this is probably the easiest way to work, the easiest on my eyes. But feel free to kind of cycle through some of those options, themes, and get a little bit creative and find something that works for you. So the last thing that I'm going to do here, I'm going to stop screen sharing. I'm going to return back here to the PowerPoint. We're going to give you guys an opportunity to grab your own free ebook. This is something that we've developed with Microsoft. It's 80 ways to supercharge your business growth, whether it be utilizing technology, utilizing some new policies and procedures, kind of like an A to Z quick start guide for those looking to accelerate their companies and really kind of growth hack their way to the top. So feel free to reach out. We can send you a copy, or you can click the PowerPoint and get your free copy here. And it's a really great read, just something that I recommend, maybe in your spare time, picking up the book and just going through a few of the topics each day. And the last thing that I'm going to present to you guys are the training materials that are online resources available to you 24/7. So we do have, feel free to visit our website, royaldiscount.com. We have a resource center with YouTube videos and specific training and PowerPoints designed to help the small business owner. But we also utilize some other resources found on websites such as docs.com. So feel free to visit the docs.com, look up Excel 2016, also look up the Quick Start Guide for Excel. A lot of the information I presented today was in the Quick Start Guide, but you might find a few gems relevant to you or your industry within that Quick Start Guide. Now, one thing to remember is what I presented on today was Excel 2016, so some of these features may not be available to users using older versions of Excel, like Excel 2010, et cetera. We want to give you guys the opportunity to download your own free trial of Office 365 or Excel 2016. So try it out, see if you like it. No upfront costs. If it's something that you want to keep going with, you're all set up. We can get you on a proper billing plan that meets your needs. In the meantime, if you do want to get on this free trial and you don't have access to the link, feel free to email me, david@royaldiscount.com or joel@royaldiscount.com. Joel's our licensing director. He can help you get set up and answer some of the questions that you may have. So need to get in contact with us. Here's our website, royaldiscount.com, our phone number. If you have some non-urgent questions about the webinar, feel free to email me. If you've got urgent questions about the webinar, feel free to email me, but it might be better to call. And if you or someone that you know in your office has some questions about software or licensing or Microsoft in general, feel free to email our licensing department. Again, that's going to be joel@royaldiscount.com. Aaron, thanks so much. Were there any other questions or things that I could answer before we wrap this up?
Thank you very much. No, we don't have any additional questions, but I do have a couple of reminders. For the handout or the booklet, the ebook, that will be offered on our Astra Academy page at this website, at this webinar, I should say. So you can get that there as well at any time. And then we'll also put the contact information up there so that you have access to that as you're thinking about Excel and other Microsoft products. So thank you again, David. We appreciate having you on. And just a reminder that we will be doing this, these monthly webinars on Tuesday, so stay tuned for the next webinar. Thank you all.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you so much, David. Are you still there?